Hey guys, I'd like to talk about the whole Syrian thing again. Well, what I've noticed is a lot of people are being governed by their emotions right now. Like, the arguments I've been seeing are like, oh, a bunch of Syrian kids were gassed and, you don't care, blah, blah, blah. Stop being emotional. Stop it. You're not helping. You're not doing anybody a favor with your bullshit, with your emotional drivel. It's not helping anybody. Don't try to appeal to me. It's not going to work. I'm not stupid. You can show me a bunch of gas fucking kids. I'm not going to change my opinion because I know what's going to happen in the long run. And anybody who says differently is stupid. And like I said before, they're being governed by their emotions. Now, seeing gassed kids and all this shit is bad, but people are dying all over the world, from different means, worse ways, like there's slavery, there's all this shit. So, if you want to invade Syria, invade 50 other freaking countries that are doing similar shit, but just not using chemical weapons. Like, if you actually care, don't try to appeal to my emotions when it's disingenuous. I know it's disingenuous because otherwise you'd be going into these other countries to topple these other dictators. But what people don't understand is that, there's a reason America is in there. It's not to help people. It's oil. It's fucking oil. It's money, it's resources, it's power. Now, just to assume that Trump is in office, he's not going to do that, you're delusional. Now, who knows? He could be being manipulated, or he could not be. It doesn't really matter at this point. What matters at this point is people have to come out against it, for what's going to happen in the future. It's not going to be good for anybody. Now, I don't want to appeal to emotion like these other people are doing. But, if you're appealing to emotion and showing me like dead pictures of kids, it's going to get a lot worse. A lot more people are going to die. So, sometimes you need to just accept some losses for the sake of everybody else. And if you believe that, increasing the amount of refugees is going to be good for the world, you're an idiot. I'm just getting really pissed off. Like, I'm arguing with these Trump supporters who just are not seeing reason. And it's now they're listening to the media, now they're paying attention to the left-wing media, now they're, quoting their sources. What? It just goes to show you how biased people really are, and they're just not even looking for truth. They're not looking for reality. They're not looking for, these types of things. They're just looking to, satisfy their egos. Nobody likes to admit when they're wrong about certain things. And, people have gotten kind of in this defensive state with Trump because maybe the media has been grilling him for a lot of stupid shit for the past years, and people are just reflexively, defending him. But the people who are criticizing him is not the mainstream media. It's his own supporters. Now, the supporters that are criticizing him are the ones who brought a lot of support and who helped him win. If it wasn't for these people who are now adamantly against it, he would not have won. You idiots who are just going to support any Republican who gets in there, or he said some things you like and now he's your god. Like, it doesn't matter what he does for you people. It doesn't matter because you're going to be supporting him anyways. So he can backtrack on this whole Syria thing. You idiots would still support him, so it doesn't really matter, right? If he wants to win again, he has to retain the more centrist of his base, the ones with the logical fucking minds, not the extremely religious, hardline right dumbasses that are in, the right wing of the party. And it's like, it's the same thing with the left. It's a bunch of dumbass left wing, hardline, crazy leftists, and they're also for this war. You're just as bad as them. You're just as bad. And the centrists of both parties, the logical-minded people of both parties, have to come together and voice their dissatisfaction with this. Increased involvement in the Middle East is not good for anybody. I know I keep making these videos. It's probably getting annoying, but I'm just arguing with idiots, and people don't learn from history. We need to learn from history. Stop repeating past. History doesn't repeat itself exactly the same way. There are obviously differences, but it follows a pattern. So it's like I'm bringing up Iraq, I'm bringing up all these things, discussions, and they don't even address them. They just fluff them up. They don't even address them. They're arguing like the typical regressive. When you bring up points that they can't refute, they'll just change topics and go to something else. That's a regressive tactical argument. All these people bitching about SJWs, all this shit, they're just as bad now. And if Trump scales this shit up, I'm completely against him, because fuck domestic policy, in some respects, because it's not really going to change that much. Like, the foreign policy, what really matters. When both parties have the same foreign policy agenda, that's an issue, because it has not been beneficial for us, for anybody to intervene in that part of the world. It has not. So the people who are getting oil, the people who are benefiting from this, are very rich people. It's not the common citizen. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to take their oil. You think you're going to get a cut of that? You think you're going to get a piece? You're not. Do you think the the divide in wealth inequality is going to stop? Get out of other countries. Like, your military budget, it's good to have a strong military and to scare off people, but you don't need to intervene in everybody's shit. That costs a lot of money. Be a fucking conservative. Conserve, right? And another thing I've noticed is that the only reason Americans would not be for this, if they were a weaker country, right? They would not be for this. Because pretty much they can invade anybody they want. Nobody can say shit. Nobody can say anything about it, but they can't do this. You can't just go in the country because you don't like their leaders. You can't just do that. You can't just, oh, I don't like this person, so we're going to take them out and replace them with somebody you like. You can't do that. Because you're just setting a precedent for other people to do it. When Russia took Crimea and all this stuff, America can't criticize that. Who the fuck? You've invaded plenty of countries. You can't say shit. You've set the precedent. So, let's just say there was a collapse and you were to lose a lot of your influence and power. Do you think, when somebody else takes your place in China, do you think they're not going to, exert their power on you when you did to them for all these years? Right? You better hope you remain number one. But with a $20 trillion debt and another war in the Middle East, do you think that's going to help your debt? Do you think you can pay off your debt? If the Federal Reserve raises the interest rates to 5 to 6%, you're fucked. You can't pay that. You can't pay the interest on your $20 trillion debt. $30 trillion, you can't pay that interest. You're fucked. You're going to have to default. You're going to have to pay that debt back somehow. And do you think you're going to be able to run a war when your economy's in a shitter, when you're going through a fucking depression? You think you're going to take care of your own people? Do you think you're going to be able to defend yourself? Look in the future. Don't think of the here and now. Think of the ramifications in the future. Don't believe the propaganda that's going on. Don't believe with being sold to you by the mainstream media, because they've lied before. They lied about Iraq. They lied about all these places. And they're going to continue to lie. Because it benefits them. It gets them views. They don't care about you. They don't care. They're only going to show you the dead bodies of Syrian children. They're not going to show you the dead body of the people in Yemen. They're not going to show you the dead bodies of people in Egypt. They're not going to show you these dead bodies of Sweden and America and all these other places, because that wouldn't be good for them. So, people, all these Trump supporters need to wake the fuck up. They need to wake up, because if they think they're helping them, they're dumb. Because all these people who are agreeing with Trump, do you think they're going to vote for him next year because of this? No. People are ideological. They're going to vote left always. Some people are going to vote right always. And the people who are saying, good job, do you think they're going to come around in a few years and say, and appease him for this and say, like, he did a good job? No. It's going to go badly, right? It's going to fuck up, and they're going to use that as ammo in 3 years' time to say, look what he did. They don't care about the loss of innocent lives. People just care about politics and winning again next year. That's all they care about. They don't care how many people die. You gotta realize this. Your political parties don't care about you. The media doesn't care about you. They don't care how many of you die. They don't care how many you suffer. As long as they get their due and they're fine and they know they're okay, they're not going to change. So, be smart. Stop being stupid. Take your fucking heads out of your asses, and smell the fresh air. Like, look ahead into the future. Try to anticipate a little bit, because your emotional drivel, your living in this fucking fairyland is not gonna be good. America is gonna show these people who's boss. Like, we don't have Obama anymore. I hate you all. I really do. You're making me hate you. Please don't make me hate people anymore. Please just, use your heads. Don't go to the Middle East and kill more people and then create more refugees that want to come kill us. How about we focus on ISIS, not the secular dictators in the Middle East that are arguably much better than what has replaced them? Not arguably, are much better. Are much better. Gaddafi, you think he was that bad? Yeah, America is just as bad. Killed just as many people. They can't speak. So, get your heads out of your asses. If you like my content, subscribe and have a great